We are back looking at the Chicago Bears in our run through all 32 teams, prepping you for the fantasy football 2024 season. A little announcement. This is being recorded on July 4th. Happy 4th of July. But you're watching this in August. So if a major news injury thing happened, that's the reason why we're not talking about it with the Bears or any of these other teams. We'll probably do like a show at the end of or a video at the end of the maybe end of August, kind of recapping things that have changed. We're talking about the Bears, who are another intriguing team, kind of hard to there's a lot of guys that people are going to be taking very, very high. They have, 3 players being drafted within the first 7 rounds. So some significant players here, starting off with Caleb Williams, the rookie, first overall pick. He's been hyped up as the number 1 pick for a while now, and that's what happened. They moved on from Justin Fields. Interesting enough, usually rookie quarterbacks don't really get drafted, especially if you're not a runner. Like CJ Stroud, I don't remember where. I don't think he was going. He was on waiver wires essentially last year. Caleb Williams is actually being drafted 106th overall in round 9 as QB 17. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Here's a waiver wire story. Mahomes didn't start his rookie year, and so he started, his second season. After the first game, I had a fantasy league. He was on waivers, and I picked him up, and I won the league.
Yeah, he threw like 5 touchdowns that game.
Yeah, never.
Yeah.
So that kind of shows you what people think, and.
Yeah. I mean, the fact of the matter, the reason why people are drafting, part of the reason why people are drafting him is, well, one, he's going into maybe the best situation we've ever seen for a rookie quarterback in terms of who's on the team, who he's going to be throwing the ball to. Everyone from wide receiver 1 to 3, from the top 2 tight ends to even the top 2 running backs, like all of them can catch passes and are good players, which we'll be talking about here. So that's part of the reason why. Another reason is CJ Stroud and what he did last year. But I do have to temper expectations a little bit. Like CJ Stroud was good, but he wasn't like one, he wasn't drafted, and 2, he averaged 18.5 points per game. Like, he was good. He wasn't like league winning good. He threw for 23 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. That's the big thing with rookie quarterbacks, is the touchdown number, right? The most in the history of the NFL is Justin Herbert at 31. Other than Justin Herbert, I think there's only like 2 or 3 guys that have gone more than 25. And you look at Caleb Williams, like the Vegas number, I think his is set at like 22.5. So that's not going to do it necessarily unless you're throwing for 4,500 yards, which maybe he could. Can he run a bit? Yeah, he can maybe give you 300 yards on the ground, which is not nothing. But I don't know. I get it. We're essentially drafting him as like a backup, and I understand like taking a shot on him. But round 9 just a little bit too rich for me, I think.
Very, very too rich for me.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in the last video. If you play in kind of a standard, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, a flex league, you have 7, non-kicker defense starters. And so like round 9 is kind of like the second guy on your bench. Like, that's significant. That's like your first backup wide receiver or running back potentially. That's like significant stuff the first 10 rounds. And if you play in even a deeper league, potentially this is still starter range or first guy on your bench. So I don't want to be taking my backup quarterback that high, I think, especially considering guys like Kirk Cousins are going after Caleb Williams, Matthew Stafford, Baker Mayfield. Like, I'll take these guys way later.
Oh, absolutely.
As my backup. So
yeah, it's just let's put the brakes on, folks. I know this guy, we talked about him after that he would have been drafted number 1 the year before, this year. So I mean, he's been talked about so much that there's such this large wave of minutia for Caleb Williams and stuff, and it's like, yeah, go ahead if you want to take a chance. Good on you. We're just kind of saying, historically, it might not. It's probably not going to happen. But
Yeah.
is he going to suck? Yeah, we hope not. Trevor Lawrence, he was the next coming of a quarterback, version of Jesus Christ. And, and I know he doesn't have the coaching issue. Caleb Williams doesn't have the coaching issue and all that. I mean, there's many reasons to say why this guy should succeed, but in the fantasy world, it's all about scoring points. And like you said, you've identified touchdowns are important and stuff like that. And so,
yeah, I'm not going to be shocked if he's a low end QB1. Like, I'm not going to be shocked if that happens. But again, like, one, I don't want to go into the season with Caleb Williams as my QB1 and that's it. And two, I don't want to spend a 9th round pick on my QB2. Like, I hardly even want to spend a top 7 pick on my QB1, let alone 2 in the top 9. So that's just kind of how I'm approaching it. And it could be different. If he falls to round 11, 12, like, okay, maybe I'll snatch him up and just see what he does the first couple of weeks. But round 9, again, potentially is like your second bench player or whatever, first bench player. Like, it's not for me. DeAndre Swift is an interesting one. I'm always surprised about DeAndre Swift's numbers when I go back and look at it. Still only 25 years old. He's going in round 7 as RB22. These are all half PPR, ADP and numbers, points per game. And I look at his points per game, 2021, when we all thought he sucked, he was RB12 in points per game. 2022, his last year with the Lions, he was RB18 in points per game. Last year, RB24. So he is going down, has been a top an RB2 the last 3 years in points per game. Last year, the first year, he rushed for 1,000 yards. The big thing was not a lot of catches because the Eagles just don't throw to their running backs a lot. 39 was the career low. And then only 5 rushing touchdowns, which Jalen Hurts stole. He fell at the 1 yard line a lot, DeAndre Swift. And Jalen Hurts came in with the tush push. So me personally, I kind of like Swift this year. I think this offense is going to move the ball and it's going to have opportunity. And, rookie quarterback, they could rely on the run a little bit more. I'm kind of in on him as like a round 7 guy, potentially as my RB2. And I stack up on receivers and like, I think he can catch a little bit more. And I think he can have maybe a little bit more touchdown opportunity than he did last year. What about for you? Are you kind of in or out? Are you worried about the other running backs there?
Yeah, I don't know. Roschon Johnson, I guess, is the guy behind him, and I think with DeAndre Swift is last year was the first time in 4 years that I think he played the whole full season. The 3 years in Detroit, there was always injury issues and stuff like that. When the guy plays and the ball is in his hand, he always looks different, So Eagles, he had over 1,000 yards last year. We'll see what hopefully the Chicago offense will get him more into the passing game. He was pretty damn good in the passing game when he was with the Lions. So
yeah, he's a talented pass catcher for sure. Like, not only did he catch a lot of passes, but he averaged a good number of per reception with the Lions. 7.8, 7.3, 8.1, all are really good for running backs. 5.5 last year. Again, Eagles just, despite not throwing to their running backs, he did catch 39 passes. So I guess the biggest concern is like, are they going to use him? How are they going to use him as the workhorse, which we kind of saw him be last year? He averaged 14 carries, 14 attempts per game and 2.5 catches. So essentially he averaged like 16, 17 touches a game. If they do that, I think he's actually going to be pretty good. Like again, he gets 225 carries. He's always been a high yards per attempt guy. If he averages his career and gets 225 carries, that's over 1,000 yards. Hopefully he can catch closer to 50 passes, tack on another 300 to 400. You're looking at a 1,400-yard player, and then we'll see about touchdowns. I guess that's another concern is, are they going to use him at the goal line and stuff like that? Maybe they use someone else. I don't know. I'm kind of in. I think at worst, you're going to get RB 20 to 25 per game at worst. And that's not amazing, but that's not bad either. That's an RB2 essentially. And with my round 7 pick, I guess I'll take that. Let me just throw out a couple of players. Like, would you take Swift or Montgomery? They're going basically back to back. It's tough.
Montgomery, I think.
I think so too, yeah. But it's not that big of a difference.
No, it can't be. No, I mean, it shouldn't be.
Yeah. What about Swift or Zamir White?
Well, oh boy. I'll say Zamir White.
Yeah, another one where it's tough. It's tough. Like, is Zamir White going to get 20 touches potentially? Could he be Alexander Madison last year? Like, that's a potential too. Like, we don't really know what we're getting with Zamir White, but I think they're going to feed him the ball. Last one, Swift or James Conner?
I'd probably take Swift, just because there's a rookie in Arizona kind of, waiting to take over for Conner, I would say, and I'd probably go Swift.
Okay. Yep. Can't disagree with those. So let's get to the receivers because they're going to take a little bit of time here. Real quick, before we get into each individual one, we have DJ Moore, who's going early, mid round 3 as wide receiver 19. We have Keenan Allen, who's going early round 5 as wide receiver 27. And we have Rome Odunze, who's going in the 8th round as wide receiver 44. If you had to choose one of those, given their ADP, not just in a vacuum, but given their ADP, are you taking DJ Moore in round 3, Keenan Allen in round 5, or Rome Odunze in round 8?
I'd probably take Keenan Allen in round 5. Okay. DJ Moore, DJ Moore had a great year last year, 96 catches, 1,360 yards, 8 touchdowns. Those are awesome numbers. Are they going to be repeatable this year? I'd say no, and no fault to DJ Moore. You got a rookie quarterback, number 1, and you got 2 other potential, wide receiver number 1s. There's 1A, 1B, 1C on these guys. Odunze, it's probably not, he's going to have to learn the game and stuff like that. But there's 2 tight ends on the team. There's DeAndre Swift that we just talked about, who's big in the pass catching game. Man, there's a lot of balls going to be flying around, and who's going to get them, I don't know. But
yeah, I actually think sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying DJ Moore in the 3rd round. I like the guy and stuff like that. I'll let somebody else do that, take that chance.
Yeah. It's really, really tough because I like all these guys. I love DJ Moore. I love Keenan Allen. I love Rome Odunze. And I am worried about if we had Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball, then I like them all. But we have a rookie in Caleb Williams, and rookie quarterbacks generally don't produce wide receivers like top 12, top 15 guys. But we saw it last year with CJ Stroud and Nico Collins and even Tank Dell for a period. And, Justin Herbert with Keenan Allen and stuff. I actually might just go Odunze because I'm worried about all of these guys, and he's the least in terms of the pick. Risky, like he's a round 8 pick. He could just be better than these guys if he was a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. He could just be better.
Yeah, isn't he
You
a
know?
pretty good red zone guy too?
That's another thing is I think he has that path from, he obviously has the build to be a touchdown guy. He had 13 last year, 14 total, but 13 receiving. And DJ Moore and Keenan Allen have never been big touchdown guys. I think Keenan Allen's most is 8, and I think DJ Moore's is either 7 or 8. So
Yeah, he had 8 last year. Yeah.
Yeah, so if I had to guess, I think DJ Moore leads this team in targets. It's just, what does that mean for him? And I don't want to take him, round 3, because I just think it could be very disappointing. Keenan Allen, I'm even a little bit nervous about, just because while he's 32, he's changing teams as well, right? That has an effect on people. Like, if he was paired with Herbert again, I'm happy with Keenan Allen in round 5. But now he's on a new team with a rookie quarterback. I'm a little nervous about what that means for him. And he's still, again, he's going early round 5. Like, there's only, 19 picks between DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. So he might be the one I'm actually most worried about. But the tough thing about that is he's literally coming off his best season that we've seen. 17.3 points per game, and he was third. He was the third wide receiver 3 behind CeeDee Lamb and Tyreek Hill last year. So he was awesome, but that's what makes it so hard. It's like, man, he was so good. He had his best year of his season on a per game basis. I don't know. I think I might go to Dunze just because, like, he's the least risky. And what if he's just better? What if, like, they regulate, a Dunze to the Keenan Allen to the slot, and they say, okay, Dunze, you're playing, you're out wide with DJ Moore. Like, there's, we want to conserve Keenan Allen, so it's really, really tough. So who do you think leads this team in reception, or let's say yards? Who do you think leads this team in yards? Moore?
Yardage, I'd say DJ Moore.
Okay, so receptions,
targets or receptions?
Let's go receptions.
I'll say Keenan Allen.
And then touchdowns? Is it a Dunze? That's the issue, right?
I'm going to say DJ Moore again.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen's a volume. I mean, he's used to the volume, and stuff like that. He had played 13 games. He had over 150 targets and 103 receptions or something close to that last year. And so he's a guy you can just – he's not – if they play him in the slot, he's not a prototypical slot guy, but I'm sure –
yeah, he moves all over the field and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue and why I'm worried the most about Keenan Allen. Like, I think DJ Moore could do damage on, even if he doesn't get, what did he have last year? He had 136 targets. He could do damage with 115, I think. He can catch the long bombs. He can average 15 yards per reception and things like that, and he could do damage on that. Rome Odunze, I think, could potentially do that as well, and he might be their biggest touchdown guy. We don't know yet. Keenan Allen needs the volume because, he's going to average 10, 11 yards per reception, right? And, yeah, that's good if you're getting 100 and 108 catches and 150 targets. But if you're not, you're going to be kind of mediocre for fantasy. So that's my concern is I think the other two could do a little bit more on minimal targets. So that's why I think I want to go Odunze. I think it's Odunze, Moore, Allen for me at where they're being drafted, which sucks because I love Keenan Allen, obviously as a Chargers fan. And
Hall of Fame.
He's about to do something that I think only like 10 guys in the history of the NFL have done, like 1,000 catches and over 11,000 yards.
I hope he has a really good year. That's what I'm.
Yeah, he could do that this year.
I know.
He could do that.
He's going to be a free agent next year.
Yeah, he was on pace for 141 catches last year. That would have been threatening Michael Thomas's 149, obviously in 16 games. But So yeah, it is tough because what makes it even one last thought here. What makes it even more tough is that DJ Moore coming off the best season of his career, wide receiver 10 last year. Keenan Allen coming off the best season of his career. So they're both like coming off their best seasons, but maybe Cole Kmet is the one that suffers. Cole Kmet, we'll talk about him real quick. Round 12, tight end 16. So he's being drafted kind of as a backup tight end. He's improved every year. I think a lot of people will be surprised to see he was tight end 8 in points per game last year. Has actually been pretty solid. Like he can catch some, he's had seasons of, 75 catches last year, 73. He's had a 7 touchdown season, a 6 touchdown season. Again, we're talking about we're worried about the volume for 3 receivers. I don't know how much volume Kmet's going to get. He might have to be the touchdown guy, Yeah. Maybe that's how he gets his production. But
wow, he had 90 targets last year. He was yeah, and I don't know, man. Big dude, 6'6", 260. I don't see him getting 90 targets this year.
Yeah, it's tough. I think he is going to have to get touchdowns. Like he'll get his every, no matter how many stud receivers you have, tight ends are always going to get a percentage. 12. I think the lowest last year was like 13% of the targets. So at the worst, he's going to get 12, 13, 14%. But it's probably going to be 50 for 500 and not 73 for 720. But if he gets 8 touchdowns, then we're talking. So, yeah, I mean, I'm fine if you want to take him because he is a talented, tight end. But I'm not expecting too much from him this year, unfortunately. So, Bears are tough. Any last thoughts on the Bears?
Yeah, and also second tight end is Gerald Everett, and he's no slouch in catching the ball either.
No, you're right.
I mean, just a lot to process there with with the Chicago Bears. It'll be it'll be fun to watch. If you're a Bears fan, everybody wants it now. Because they've sucked for years and stuff like that. And I don't want the Bears too good, of course, because I'm a Lions fan. But as an NFL fan, it'd be nice to see all this stuff, all these moving pieces and parts of wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends and quarterbacks. They all kind of mesh together.
Yeah. I just realized, and this is my bad, we didn't even talk about the backup running back, so we'll quickly touch on those. We just talked about Swift. Roschon Johnson, still being drafted round 15, RB 56. Obviously disappointing last year. I still think he has some potential of either being a good, handcuff to Swift or kind of having a role. He can catch the ball. He's a big back. He can block and pass blocking. So I think he has tools that are valuable. And maybe he's the goal line guy. I don't know. So I'm fine with taking a stab at him round 15. It's like that's where you're starting to think about kickers, right? So if he sucks, then you just cut him and no harm done. So and I think Khalil Herbert, he's like kind of like Miles Sanders, like maybe traded or cut type of thing. Like I don't know if he has a role on this team. I think the combination of Swift and Roschon Johnson kind of makes him redundant. Swift's a better runner, a better pass catcher. Roschon Johnson also, to me, is a better pass catcher, and he can block. So, any comments on those? Like, are you interested in either one late in the draft, or?
Maybe Johnson. I don't know. We just have to wait. We have to see it all play out, and.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically like you're taking a stab at him. Like, hopefully, he turns into something type of player. So it's still the same GM and coach that drafted him in the 4th round. So that's always a little bit of a plus. So, but we'll finish up there. We'll get moving. We'll be back, and we are talking about the Cincinnati Bengals next. And we'll catch you guys all in that video.